Okay, so we'll start away. First off, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's session. I'm just going to give everyone a brief overview of the BA in International Relations program, all that you can get involved with, all the different modules you can do, and then there'll be a brief stop at the end for any questions. So feel free to type in your questions to the chat as you go along, and when I get to the end, I will answer them as quickly as I can. Okay, so to start, who am I? So my name is Hugh. I am in third year of the BA in International Relations program. The three main reasons why I picked this course is firstly, my interest in global affairs has been there since I was a young boy, and the assessment structure was particularly important to me. So I found exams quite hard to concentrate to study for, and the continuous assessment module really takes the stress out of it and adds in some of the joy and the interest to your studies and to your assignments. And then the opportunities during and post my degree, different clubs and societies you can get involved with. And then outside of college as well, it opens up so many different avenues of work to get involved in. And there's something I'll briefly touch on as we go towards the end. Currently, I'm on my intra placement in Enterprise Ireland as my third year of study. So Intra is like an internship program, and it stands as your third year of college. It is DCU's word for integrated training. So the BA in International Relations, I'll just double check. Cool. It's the only program of its kind in Ireland. It is a knowledge based and practice oriented learning. There's a big emphasis on group work, class discussion, CA focus, so that's continuous assessment. There's minimal lecture time, and there's a big focus on your own accountability, which works for some people, but it might not work for others. So that's definitely something to consider. And then it can be a 3 or 4 year program. If you choose the third year, you can do an Erasmus program in any of these countries. So all the countries listed there were available when I started, but when I got to second year, the countries in bold were the only options available to me. So it's important to note that the countries available and the partner universities change from year to year. And then in third year, you can also do an internship year. So you can get practice oriented learning in a business in an area you'd like to study in. So why study international relations? So this is the big picture stuff. So it helps to understand the complexities of global affairs, why the world kind of gets along and why it doesn't get along. It offers a range of lenses to interpret state behavior. So two of those are realism. So there's an emphasis on competition and security. So people are always going to, find it hard to get along. And then you have liberalism. So you have a big focus on cooperation and countries working together, for instance, the EU. And then we use these different lenses to give different perspectives on key topics, and these are areas you'd be studying on. So, for example, the war in Ukraine, climate change, or terrorism. So these are some of the modules. These are modules from first year, second year, or final year. So security and conflict is an interesting one. Politics of climate change. So that would bring in your lenses again, like realism and liberalism. Languages, you can do a language stream or the international relations stream. American politics is always a particularly exciting one and one I definitely enjoy. So this was my favorite module in first year. So it's called Introduction to Politics. Again, it's important to note that the exact assessment varies year to year. So what this module gave me was a broad introduction to different areas of politics. For example, conservative versus liberal, history of political conflicts, and then there was a really interesting key term definitions. And then the assessment was there was an essay on the recent Swedish elections at that time in 2022. There was analysis on it, etc. And then two, there was a 1 minute video on a topic of your choice. So it brought in a lot of creativity. You can make videos using software on your phone or your laptop. And then number three was there was an MCQ test, so multiple choice question exam on key terms, and these were evenly distributed and gave you your end result. And then the teaching was through lecture slides. There was a lot of class discussion and participation, which is always interesting to hear people's different viewpoints on various topics that would be brought up for class discussion. So this was my time so far. So these are just a few pictures from my time in DCU. So starting in first year, right through to where I am now in my intro placement. So up the top, there was one of my presentations for a terrorism module. International Relations Society has been a big part of different things I've gotten involved in. There was also the Student Ambassador Program, so I'm here speaking in my capacity with that program. So it's great to go to open days, speak about international relations, and answer different people's questions. And then during my intro placement, I'm in Enterprise Ireland at the moment. So I've got to go to loads of different events. I heard Mary Robinson speak, met Leo Clancy, CEO of Enterprise Ireland. And then in the middle photo, we got to travel to Rome as part of a society trip. So that was very interesting and really added to your CV. And it was a great way to sort of debate different topics, but without the sort of exam or assessment focus that you'd have within class. And then up the top picture, you'll see sort of a roundtable discussion. And this was through my work with the Friends of Europe think tank in Brussels. So they came to Dublin and I was able to volunteer to work with them and get exposed to different topics, different people, different viewpoints from different countries, which was also very interesting. And then down the bottom right, I got involved with the EU Career Student Master Programme. So I got to travel to Brussels and met loads of like-minded peers. And we really enjoyable couple of days. And I worked at different events promoting EU careers to students. And then also sport has been a big part of my life. So down on the top right, playing soccer or football, whichever you like to call it. So that's always fun to do. Every Wednesday, you can rent one of the AstroTurf pitches in the Glasnevin campus and grab a few friends and have some fun. So these are sort of the nitty gritty course details. So it's a 3 or 4 year degree. There's a possibility of the year abroad, which is our Erasmus program. So there's different partner universities, and you go to the universities and you study for a year. You get to live abroad, which is always quite cool and very exciting, but it can be quite daunting as well. So I'd just make sure you discuss that with someone close to you if you'd like to do that. And then also you could get involved with an internship. Just double check. Okay. Internship program, which I have as well. And there's loads of different companies and organizations you can go to. And like I said, there's two streams. So the main IR stream is the stream I am in. So you get a lot of choice on your modules. And then you have the language stream. So you have the opportunity to study this degree in conjunction with Spanish, French, or German, which is such a fantastic thing to have on your CV. If you studied a language in college, I definitely encourage people to pick that course, particularly if you have a love of languages. If maybe you speak a second language at home, it's definitely something to consider. But I would preface it with learning a language in college is always quite difficult. So it's important you're sort of prepared for the workload. The self-study, self-motivation can sometimes be tricky, but it's definitely not impossible. But I just make sure you sort of consider all the pros and cons before you make your final decision. So our CEO code is DC231. So if you just go onto Google and you type in DC231, you'll be able to get the course page and get a lot more detail on the course. And then our CEO points, as you can see, it sort of fluctuates between sort of 370 and 400 points. When I came in, it was 376. So it's definitely achievable if you put your head down and work through the couple of years. You could be in DCU like me. So the final slide is your career. So what could you get involved with after you finish your degree? You could, of course, go on to further study or master's or doctorate program. But this course opens up avenues in national government, international organizations like the United Nations or the EU, non-governmental organizations, maybe volunteering, but also to be employed by a non-government organization is a possibility. And then you have corporations and consultancies. So for sort of Facebook, making sure they have their internal legislation, advising on that is always quite cool. And then political analysts or researchers. So a lot of our lecturers are involved outside of DCU on different policy papers or contributing to different media outlets. And it's something that is always a possibility for you if you do the degree and finish up your degree with us in DCU. So I'm just going to close this slide now and I'll be able to go into any questions, but just a couple of points I want to say. So you can find more information by looking us up online or reaching out to Team DCU. Like I said earlier, if you just type in DC231 on Google, you'll be able to get a lot more detail. Or you can contact me through the UniBuddy system, which you'll get access to through the course page for any clarification or any further questions. Yes, so thanks for listening. And yeah, so I'll just close the slide and go back to any of your questions. So I'll stop sharing. No problem. Thanks for joining. So, great question. Great question on the modules there. So it sort of varies year to year. So in first year, I probably had about 10 hours of modules. So I was in class, in lectures, studying. And then afterwards, I probably spent maybe between 15 to 20 hours on different assignments, different readings. And then when I got into second year, it was probably 20 to 30 hours of additional study, but my lecture time stayed around the same. These numbers are only when it gets around exam time. Early on in your year, sort of between week 1 and 4, you might not be doing too much study or too much assignments, but you will be doing your readings. So it could be between 10 hours extra per week, and then when you get close to assignments or sort of in-class tests, you could be up to between 20 and 30 hours extra as well. So that would be spread across my whole week. So it's not like a 9 to 5 job. Anyway, yeah. So I hope that helps. No problem. Thank you. And then in final year, you'll have a lot more assignments, a lot lengthier essays to write. So you could be probably 30 hours extra per week. But that would be spread between Monday to Sunday. Yeah. How many students are in your year? And okay, that's a great question. So I'd say there's approximately between 60 and 70 students in the whole year. But on a day-to-day module, you could be looking at an average between 25 and 30. Sometimes you might have a particular module with another course. So, for example, one of my modules in first year, there was lots of different courses involved, and there was 300 people in the lecture theatre. But as you go along and get into more specific modules, you will be on average about 20 to 30. And then how many people are from abroad? It's difficult to say, but I know for definite there's three people in my class who come to modules and and lectures very regularly from abroad. Two are from Croatia, and one is from the UK. But that would vary from course to course, and it will vary from year to year as well. Yeah, that's a great question. So I'd hope to go into in Enterprise Ireland, where I am now on my internship program. There's what's called a graduate program. So that's a 2 year contract after you finish your course. So I'd hope to go into that. So Enterprise Ireland is a development agency helping Indigenous Irish businesses, so businesses owned by Irish people, expand and grow their exports. So that's what I'd like to go into because it kind of combines sort of my two interests. I do enjoy business, reading about that in current affairs, and sort of the global affairs side of things, and how those two sort of interchange. I think is very exciting. I'd also like to go into national government as well, particularly with the Department of Foreign Affairs, or work in maybe an Irish embassy abroad. Is something that is very exciting to me. So I wouldn't say I have a definite picture, but I know this course is definitely for me, and it's giving me the right skills to get the job I want. No problem. There's just 3 more minutes there, so do feel free to reach out to me on UniBuddy. I'll put the link in here, um, or you'll be able to access the link through the course link page I've sent in here. So be able to reach out to me on that if you have any further questions. And also, that is the web page for the course. So there's a lot of detail in there that you can read about, and you can reach out to other people um, within the course, or within, sorry, the course sort of structure, the course professors for further detail on the different modules, different requirements, what you'll be doing. So I'd encourage everyone to read that as well. And also to look at similar courses in DCU, like EPL or BCL, are always quite interesting courses. So they're quite similar to what you'll be studying, but they bring in more of a focus on other elements as well. So I'll just finish up in a minute. I'd just like to thank everyone for joining. It means a lot to me that you take your time out to listen to me. I know the presentation was a brief overview, but thank you, thanks a million, and have a nice evening, everyone.